Hey guys, I'm super excited to show you this transformation. We took this grown out golden blonde, chopped her hair into this super cute, sassy, ashy blonde. If you follow me on Instagram at Christy at the Cottage, send me a message. I'd love to say hi. Here's my client's before again. You can see that she has quite a bit of grow out, probably like maybe 6 months or so. She definitely wants to go quite a bit brighter today, but she wants to be able to maintain a little bit of roots so that way she can not have to worry about lots of maintenance. And so we're going to do it quite heavily around her face because we want to make sure that she has a lot of brightness where it counts, but we're going to do it soft enough so that it grows out really nicely without too harsh of a line. So normally I would do about 2 to 3 foils right along the hairline, but because we're trying to be a little bit more bold with her blonde right along her face to give her that extra pop of brightness, we're going to be doing about 4 foils right along her hairline. Depending on the client and what look they're going for, some clients want to have the very top of their forehead a back-combed foliage money piece, and that will give them a little bit more room to grow out and have a little bit softer, rooty look. But my client today wants to have it definitely a lot brighter, so I'm going to be taking her foils directly up to her scalp, but I am doing really fine weaves. So even though we are going to be packing in 2 to 3 foils with a small subsection right on the top of her hairline, because they are really fine weaves, it's not going to be heavy grow out. Now we're just going to go on the other side of her forehead because we are doing more of a V-shape money piece. So, and that honestly is just because of the way her hairline grows. This is just going to repeat the same thing that we did on the other side. I am doing a full foil on her today, and she is also a first-time client, and so I want to go in there and make sure I do a really good job and cover everything. So I'm going to go through and do my vertical foils right along her hairline at the nape of the neck too. This will help ensure that when she pulls her hair up as her hair grows out, that she'll have a really nice soft blend instead of having a whole bunch of stripiness right around her hairline when she pulls her hair up. Because I'm doing a full foil, I'm going to go through and do about 4 to 5 foils on either side of our neckline. That way it will give me a lot of brightness. And normally when I just do a partial, I only do like 2 foils. That way I at least just brighten her up around the hairline. But because we're going to go in and do a full, I'm going to do a little bit more. That way I cover a little bit more ground on the sides of her head, and it will be a lot easier when I work my way up the back middle. I won't have to do as many sections of foils in between. Now that we're working our way towards the back middle of her head, I'm going to start doing diagonal foils, working my way up. I'm going to do roughly 2 to 3 foils on one side and then switch and go and work on the other side and then switch back. She wants to have a really nice blend, and sometimes I feel like having too perfect of a pattern creates more lines in the hair, even if it's a weave. So I feel like doing diagonal sectionings kind of helps break it up a little bit more and helps the blonde look a little bit more natural. I don't know if you guys have noticed by the way that I foil, but I typically don't section when I do my foiling. Usually I like to just go with the shape of the head and adjust my sectioning through there. I feel like if I do too precise of sectioning when I do my foils, I'm not free to adjust my patterns to the shape of the head, and I'm just not really big on sectioning, and I just personally feel like it takes away some of the artistic ability if you're just stuck to a certain amount of patterns or sectionings that you learn in beauty school. And I do think that some people are so by the book that they have to have their sectionings. And me personally, I just don't feel like I'm that big on sectioning like my 4 quadrants every time, or having a specific pattern that I have to do or whatever. It really just varies per client and what kind of look they're going for. Now that I've got the sides and back done and we're almost on our way to the top of the head, because she does want it to be pretty blended and have a nice rooty look, I'm not going to do my typical halo foil that I do when I just foil horizontally over the top of the head. Instead, I'm going to go through and do my diagonal partings, but it's going to create, now that we're at the top, kind of more like a herringbone foil. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, if you've ever used it, but I learned it when I was in beauty school, and it's basically like, make sure that the very end of the foil where the hair is, that they meet up and cross over just at the very ends to make sure that you have coverage in that area. And I'm probably explaining that really horribly, but if you haven't tried it, I suggest just kind of playing with it and seeing what you can come up with. It's just another nice way to have a really soft foil and to get a really nice blend versus just doing a basic weave. Now that I've kind of done a few more foils at the top, you can see a little bit better when I was trying to explain the herringbone foil. You can see that I have towards the middle, like the straight across foils, but then as we get to the top, we have the few that are kind of more diagonal and kind of overlaying each other. That is what happens when you do the herringbone foil, because it just kind of like creates like a fishtail effect where it just kind of lays right over the top of each other every section that you do. So you'll still get the coverage right at the part, but it's going to be just a really soft, more natural blend. Anyways, I don't know if that explains it any better than I tried before, but if you're interested, I can try to draw something out sometime and share it. But yeah, it's just always fun to try something new. As we work our way and finish the rest of her foil, I'm going to go through and just really lightly through the ends. I'm going to do a few panels. She's so golden and she wants a lot of brightness. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to brighten her as much as I can. And we're going to go through and balayage through her dropouts. And this is the formulation that I'm using to tone her. Here's her before again, and I have to apologize. We finished this color service after like 9 o'clock at night, so we didn't have any sunlight, so we had to use the ring light. It doesn't really show the highlights as good, but you can see that we did get her nice and bright. She has a lot of lightness around her face and through the ends, and it still blends really good up into her roots. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.